Professor Pal, the new IT rules of 2022, which have also been challenged in court, virtually give the government blanket powers to take down, to virtually dictate to a YouTube or a Twitter what post has to be taken down, what video has to be taken down. Do you believe all of this is the real danger? Congress and BJP will fight with each other, the blame game will take place, but the fact is India, when it comes to internet freedoms, is a country on the retreat with very dangerous laws. Is that what should be the focus here?
Well, the important thing in terms of online freedom is that as mainstream media, including television channels, become more and more beholden to things like ad revenue, online social media is where a lot of the opposition voices or dissenting voices of whatever kind find space. So it is true that India has the highest level of YouTube takedown requests and very high levels in other social media as well, and that is a way of finding dissent, especially when something like Twitter becomes a critical piece of public sphere on which all journalists actually operate in India, all mainstream journalists, whether they are with mainstream media or independent media. So it is something that needs to be protected carefully. Obviously, national law is national law, and how Twitter will try to govern this using a US paradigm of thinking about it is going to bring it into conflict with Indian law.
Right.
But the underlying point is that this is where free journalism is taking place, which is why it needs to be protected.
Rahil Khurshid, are you optimistic as someone who's tracked this again over the years? Do you fear that what we are seeing that is only the tip of the iceberg? As we come closer to the elections of 2024, the pressure will even increase, intensify on outlets like Twitter?
I do believe, Rajiv, that might be the case, unfortunately, because world over, governments, and particularly in India, there has been attempts to control narrative, and since Twitter is at the forefront of this conversation, and with now it being in private hands, I'm not sure the mechanisms for pushback, given the staffing cuts and everything, are intact. So even if the government were to push, and earlier there used to be pushback, now I fear that there won't be any pushback. That Mr. Musk, in his infinite wisdom, having made like really crazy staff cuts, has put Twitter in a really vulnerable position globally, and particularly so in democracies that are getting of elections, and he has seriously compromised Twitter's ability to respond to misinformation, disinformation, and pressures and pulls from governments of the day to take down content.